Welcome to Subramani. Over a long period of time, I've done many videos on dividend-based investing, right? So here is what are the steps which are required for building a dividend portfolio. More or less, the things remain the same. So first is learn about equity investing. And learn that there is a difference between dividend from mutual funds and dividend from companies, right? When a company gives a dividend, it is the company's decision that out of the 100 rupees that they want, 30 rupees they want to give it to you, right? And they want to keep 70 rupees. I'm talking out of the pat. Whereas in mutual fund, it is your income that they have distributed back to you, right? So you don't have to take it as a dividend. In fact, the best option is to take a growth option. So first of all, understand that dividend from companies is very different from dividend from mutual funds, right? Mutual fund is just your own company, your own money. You can decide how much to withdraw. It is just a method of withdrawing a portion of your capital and portion of your income. So right, so the word should not be dividend. Therefore, SEBI has come out with some very funny word which nobody remembers. So I'm not even repeating it, right? But it is basically a return. A part of your capital is also being returned to you in that. So you could be eroding value because of the dividend that you get. You can just delete this from your head. And now, so how do you build a portfolio? More or less same. First of all, you read about investing and learn about equity investing. So find out what is ROCE, what is RONW, and how to build a portfolio. When I'm talking of building a portfolio, I'm talking of building a dividend yield portfolio. Maybe you're 22 years of age, so you need to look at a dividend portfolio where you want some dividends which will start today and some dividends which will start at 32 and some dividends you do not know when it will start, right? So if you were to pick up startups of today, when I say startups, I also mean companies which are currently in the growth phase and not able to pay dividend. I mean, all airlines today could be in that phase. Somebody could be setting up a chain of restaurants today and they would be in the same place. They are unable to pay dividends simply because they don't have the cash. The cash that they have is being used to grow. So please remember, there is compounding of retained earnings is not something which we talk about. When a Reliance or an Adani keep a portion of the money to be reinvested, that money is also growing. We keep forgetting. We think only the dividend which comes to us gets compounded. The retained earnings also compound. So first, learn about investing. Second, start building a portfolio right from a young age. Maybe you're 25. Start understanding dividend based investing and knowing that by 50 or 55 or something, you will have enough dividend income with which you can retire, right? So right now, that is what you're doing, is starting the process. So initially, when you receive the dividends, you have no choice but to pay the tax. So you will pay the tax and the balance money will go back into buying the same share from where you have received the dividend. So let us say you have HDFC Bank, TCS, Coromandel International and EID Parry. Whenever you get dividends from these companies, you will go and invest in the same company. So you will buy more of HDFC Bank, TCS, Carbon Universal and Coromandel International and EID Parry, right? So this is how you will start building your portfolio. And you will also buy shares like, this is again an example. It does not mean I have a position, or it doesn't mean I don't have a position. In say an Indigo and a Zomato, which are today not able to pay dividend because they are still growing. Then you look at it and say, oh, Zomato is still making losses, but I like the business model, so therefore I will buy. That's also part of the dividend way of buying, because you're buying a future dividend. So largely, when you're young, you will not worry too much about the current dividend. You will be more interested in dividend which is going to happen after 10-15 years. So first, learn about investing, and obviously more about dividend investing. Second, have a very clear strategy that I am going to invest only in dividend yield companies where the dividend yield has to be at least 4% or 5%. Remember, I'm talking about this in December 2022 when the gilt is edging and nudging 8%. So at least half the gilt yield. So if gilt yield is 4%, then 2% equity yield is not bad at all. So remember to put a number like that and say, and it has to have growing dividends, right? So last 4 quarters, 5 quarters, 8 quarters that I've seen, the dividends have been going up every year. So every 3 years or every 4 years, I see that the company is doing more distribution. Company is also doing a buyback, but I am not interested in the buyback. I am not going to participate in the buyback. I am here to build my portfolio. So have a very clear written down strategy, because once you don't write it down, you will keep making it very flexible. So say half the gilt yield is what I want, and I also want the company growing at a particular pace. So after some time you realize that you have some FMCG which is not growing at a fast pace, but it has got a high PE. Maybe it's time for you to get out, because you are not getting your dividend yield, it is not growing fast. So you might as well get into some other maybe Indian FMCG or maybe Indian pharma company which is growing better than an MNC pharma or an MNC FMCG, right? I'm not getting into specifics. I'm just saying, keep your strategy. Is that company anyway worth keeping? Is it a fantastic company? Does it have moat? Is it growing well? All those questions which you would anyway ask before buying any company, you have to ask even while building a dividend portfolio. So first of all, understand what is a dividend portfolio, understand dividend based investing, have a proper strategy, have a written down proper strategy, right? Do your own research. Is this a good dividend? Is this dividend sustainable? Is this dividend coming out of earned income, or is it coming because the biggest shareholder wants dividend, right? So what are the reasons why it pays dividend? For example, Coromandel International pays dividend. 60% of that is held by EID Parry. EID Parry receives it. It has nothing else to do with that, so it declares a dividend. So obviously there is a 2-month, 3-month gap between the Coromandel dividend and the EID Parry dividend. So understand from where is the dividend coming. Now EID Parry will not pay any dividend if Coromandel International were to skip dividends, right? It has no other, the other income is not great enough to be paying good dividends. So find out how the dividend is coming. Is it growing well? Is the company doing well? Once you have an answer to all that, then you go and buy the share and build your portfolio. Also remember that your portfolio has to be well diversified. Don't keep on buying MNCs. Don't keep on buying PSUs, saying, oh, PSUs give a very good dividend yield, metals give a very good dividend yield, or oil gives a very good dividend yield. You need metals, you need oil, you need MNC, you need PSU, you need private sector Indian companies. You need all this in your portfolio, because you're building a long-term 30-year kind of a portfolio. So if you're building that kind of a portfolio, you will need to have a good, well diversified portfolio, not concentrated on any one PSU or oil or metals or things like that. So have a well diversified portfolio. Yes, it could include commodities if the share price is attractive, but make sure that the commodity cycles you'll have to be careful, because a steel or an oil or anything could go for very long cycles. That does not really matter if you are young, because you are not dependent on the dividend. Whenever you get dividend, you will buy more of that share, right? Remember, portfolio building, whether it is dividend or anything else, is a long-term strategy. So as soon as you get the dividend, you should buy more of that same share. That discipline should not go away. So if you have 20 shares, the same 20 shares will be bought again every year when the company pays dividend. So you will do that when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and in your 60s, you will start using that dividend for your day-to-day expenses. The dividends will keep coming, right? So maybe in your 60s, you will move to a lower tax bracket, right? That is also possible. So this is how you build your investment or your dividend investment portfolio. Stay disciplined, understand it's a long-term strategy, understand that some of the shares may be doing badly, so you may remove it, you may put a new one, right? So once upon a time, if companies were listed in India and Citi and Stancy were listed in India, you would have bought that. But then the company did not do well, then they got competition from HDFC and ICICI, so therefore they did badly. You may have removed that and bought this. So similarly for FMCG or for pharma, anything, you may buy some share which is currently doing well, but you're building for like 40-50 years. You will have to remove some of them and add. So that you will continuously do. But you should have the discipline that the minute I get dividend, after the tax, whatever is the amount left, with that I will pay, I will buy more of the same share. That is how you build your dividend portfolio over a long period of time. Building any equity portfolio is also like this, but dividend, you have to remember that what yield you will buy, what yield you will not buy, what PE you will buy and what PE you will not buy. So you may say that, oh, the dividend yield is 2%, but the PE is 42. So I'm not interested in buying. I want dividend yield and PE. It has to be attractive given that industry. Some industries may never walk into my dividend portfolio, and so be it, right? So understand all this and start your journey towards building your retirement corpus, which is going to be a dividend based expenses. So you will be spending less than the dividend that you get, and that is a very good strategy. Thank you.